So when you buy your new ring sling, it might come open like this, or if you buy it used, again, it might already have the ring through it, but you can take the ring out and just take it like this. You want to wash it, even if you bought it brand new, give it a good wash. Tumble dry low or whatever the directions say. I think this one says, I don't know. I usually just throw it in the normal wash with the normal clothes. I don't really follow these guidelines that well. But some people like to iron them so that they're softer, but usually depending, this is a Gearsole, but Lenny Lambs usually are soft right out the pack. So now, before you put your baby in, you want to set your ring sling up. So if you look, mine has some pleating here. This is the back side, and then this side here is the front. So you want to put your ring sling on your non-dominant hand. So for me, that's my left. Some people put it on their dominant hand, but I feel like if you're shopping or something and you're trying to reach for stuff with your dominant hand, it shifts your ring, and I'm not really a fan of that. So what you want to do is start with your fabric over your ring, I should say, over your non-dominant hand, and then you want to spread it out. So if you look in the back here, it's pretty much spread out across my back, and you want to make sure it's even and not twisted. Then you take your hand and kind of just accordion fold it up. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to fix it later. So now you want to make sure your fabric is tied across your back, still have your rings, and like those belts back in the 80s, you used to push it up through the ring. Same thing, you're going to push it through the ring, and you want to make sure that you're still not twisted. So both sides are not twisted, okay? Then you're going to take your rings and you're going to separate them out. Then you're going to take this tail here that you created, and you're going to shove it back through your ring. Don't worry if it's not perfect because you're going to fix it. So now, once you have it through, just give it a little pull. And then this is where we're going to start the fixing process. So you're going to find the end of your rail, and you're going to take this part here and find it on both sides. So you want to make sure that it's not twisted when you do it. And then you'll have it flush on both sides. Then start from the bottom, same thing. Make sure that it's not twisted on either side. Then pull it out and just make sure that it's not crisscrossed. If it is, when you put your baby in and you try to tighten it, it's going to be a little difficult to tighten because the fabric is bunched. So if you spread the fabric out, when you tighten it, it won't bunch. So now mine is pretty good. I'm actually going to put my toddler in it because it's a little easier to see with a live moving baby. Now when you put your baby in, if your baby starts to fuss or cry, that's fine. That means you're standing still. We're used to subconsciously swaying when we have babies, so just sway a little, bounce a little, and your baby will be fine. So now you see my ring is perfectly threaded and tight. So now you want to put your ring back up to your shoulder, okay? So this is where the fun comes in. You want to make sure you have a good amount of fabric still out. Depending on how big your baby is, you might want to tighten it. You take your hand, push it in, and just pull this straight across. Now, if you pull it down, it's going to shift your ring. So just pull it straight across, and that'll tighten it up. And do it like, they call it rail by rail. Just pull each individual little piece until you tighten it. Now, this bottom one, you can pull straight down. That's not going to shift too much. So now get your baby. I'll get my toddler. There. And you're going to put them on your opposite of your ring. So for me, that's my right side. You're going to take their legs, and you want to put their legs inside the ring sling, all the way inside, so that they come out the bottom. And then take your fabric here, hold onto the baby tight the entire time, and pull it up over their back like this, okay? So now that you have it over their back, you're going to keep holding them with your one hand and your other hand. Take this extra fabric here and pull it straight across your back. You see my back? I'm pulling it tightly. You're gonna take it and tuck it up underneath baby's butt and pull them up while you do it. So now your baby's kind of sitting on your tummy and you're still holding them tight. Switch hands, put your hand all the way inside, and you're gonna pull this extra fabric up in between their legs. You wanna pull it till it's about belly button length. For smaller babies, I pull it up a little higher just because I really wanna reinforce their seat. So now make sure your fabric is tight all the way across. If you see my ring has shifted up a little, that's okay because I'm going to pull it down over my body. Now again, keep holding on to your baby. Don't ever let them go. Now I like to take this hand and I like to just spread it out across my back before I tighten it. That's a personal preference. You can do your own thing. So you see my ring has shifted down a little. I like to spread it out more because it dispenses the weight better. Disperses, I mean. So now you want to make sure your fabric is pulled tight, and then take this top rail and just pull it straight across. That's gonna tighten this back here. If the baby starts fussing, you can do this while you're tightening it until it's tight across your back. That's usually a good indicator. And then keep pulling straight across each individual section, and it's gonna tighten each individual section. You can kind of see it as I go, how it gets a little tighter and a little tighter and a little tighter until you get to the end. And then that's it. Your baby's in here pretty tight. For me personally, when my baby was smaller, I would like to reinforce the seat. Even though I felt like they were in here well enough, I would take this tail here and I would spread it like this, and I would tuck it up underneath the baby's bottom. Reach your hand in between you and the baby and pull it straight up and out like this. So see how it comes straight out? Now you can take this part here and just pass it across their bottom, and that reinforces their seat. So even if you feel like you didn't put them in well enough, it's so reinforced that they're not gonna go anywhere even if they shift around. And again, I just like to spread my stuff out. So me, I do a lot of adjustments. But now, if you're shopping, your non-dominant hand is free, so you can reach for stuff and baby's not going anywhere. Whereas with this one, your range of motion is limited. So that's pretty much it. Now to get them out is very simple. You actually don't have to take your ring sling all the way off. I find it easier not to, especially when I leave it in the car, because it's good for a good, quick in and out. So make sure your baby's head is get away from the ring, and then you just take your hand here and pull the ring out, and it loosens the fabric. Make sure you're holding tight to your baby, and that kind of loosens the seat. So now that the baby's loose, take both hands and lift them up and out. So for me, I like to lift them up to my shoulders. I have one hand to hold them, and I just pull the fabric down and I pull them out. Now, I don't like to just leave it like this. So if I know that I'm not going back in the car, I'll just pull my arm out and I'll loosen it like a belt. And then I kind of just tuck it. That way it's not trailing when I walk. And that's it. Pretty much very quick, very simple. I would suggest practicing at home a couple times before you decide to do it while you're out, just in case you're still not confident. But you also want to do it like in a mirror so you can see that you're still got everything in the right row. Practice it all the time, especially if you're not going anywhere, because again, practice makes perfect. And the more confident you are, the quicker you'll be with getting your baby up and out. So any questions or comments, feel free to let me know.